Well, this is not the Thundercracker video that I had originally promised you all. So issue 17 just recently came out, and the thumbnail and the title of this video probably have you thinking Delta Trion hates the Energon universe now. And as funny as that title would have been, no, it's not true. I still love this continuity and this comic. I love everything about it. I think it's one of the greatest Transformers stories we've had in a long, long time, but that doesn't mean it's perfect. And I have some issues with issue 17. Notably, this issue was originally marketed as a Thundercracker and Skywarp and Ultra Magnus kind of catch-up. And within the first 2 pages, we get that Thundercracker and Skywarp moment, and then it's over. It's gone. It's a great moment, but it's not a lot. And people would say less is more, but in this case, I want more of this. Right after that, we get into the Ultra Magnus stuff, which has Carly and Spike and RC and Beachcomber and Ultra Magnus himself. And we actually get some really good insight on Beachcomber. It's awesome to see him have some more development. But Ultra Magnus is kind of, I don't know, he's shafted in this moment. You know, he's this great warrior, and obviously he's dealing with PTSD and in a very horrible sense after what's been done to him by Shockwave. But once we get those, 3-4 pages of him, he's shipped off to the side. And we have to go back to Cliffjumper's story and Optimus's story, which both of those stories are great. I love them. Fantastic. Everything in this issue I love. There's nothing that happens in this issue that I disliked. But I felt like this issue should have either been Optimus and Cliffjumper, their stories going side by side, or it should have been Thundercracker and Ultra Magnus. Thundercracker and Ultra Magnus get the first few pages, really kind of setting up what I think this is going to be about, and then we jump back into the main storyline, which again, nothing that's done here is bad. I love all of this. This is fantastic. But the fact that we've been waiting to see Ultra Magnus and really what happens to Thundercracker after he finds out the truth, it's a little disappointing. And so no, I don't hate this issue, but it's, well, like I just said, disappointing. Daniel Warren Johnson even talks about having to balance these characters. Somebody asks him in the letter section of this issue, could we see more Blue Streak? And he says, no, probably not. He's a side character. And I totally get that. I totally understand that the side characters aren't going to have their own time to shine, like Cliffjumper's having, or someone like Starscream, even kind of Soundwave. I get that. But Thundercracker and Ultra Magnus are pretty important characters. We've gotten a lot of their character. And so to see them show up, get just a little teeny tiniest bit of story for them, and then for them to be thrown off to the side is really kind of frustrating. Now, one of the arguments for this is that this series reads better in volumes, and I would actually agree with that. If you pick up Volume 1 and read through the first 6 issues, I think those flow together kind of as one cohesive story, rather than reading them single issue month to month. That being said, it's still a product that is released month to month. I don't need the month's issue to have a beginning and a clear end and that story be wrapped up and contained. No, this is not an anthology series. I understand that. But still, there have been quite a few issues that kind of act as middle grounds. You know, people say they're setting things up, and that's fine. I totally understand that. Starscream's first issue, issue 13, really only worked because we got issue 14. If it was 13 and that was it, I would have been really upset. So I understand that sometimes there's part 1s and part 2s. Daniel Warren Johnson has done this with a comic he's working on right now, The Moon is Following Us. The first issue came out, and I kind of didn't like it. But then issue 2 came out, and it really was the second half of that singular first story, and it made sense. And in the same way, I would not recommend that you read The Moon is Following Us as a monthly series. You should get the volumes when they release, or the complete edition of all 12 issues once that's done. That's the best way to read it, as with a lot of his other content. But that doesn't protect my criticism that this issue was a little bit of a disappointment. Again, some fantastic work with Optimus, some fantastic work with RC and Cliffjumper. We got so many great cameos with Blades and Ratbat and Thrust. Just, fantastic. Amazing art, amazing story. I love the look of the Well of Sparks. Again, this is all fantastic. This is top tier stuff. Bruticus attacking the Space Needle in Seattle. This stuff is crazy. Starscream calling Soundwave a specific word that I'm not going to say here on the channel. It's great. We get to see more Trailbreaker. Jazz and Cliffjumper are here. Some amazing spreads. It's fantastic. It's continuing this high quality of character writing as well as amazing art, especially at the end with the huge reveal of Shredhead, the kind of only original character that we're probably going to get from Daniel Warren Johnson. And this is totally a Daniel Warren Johnson character. They look just so fantastic. And Shredhead being Carly's van is such a smart move. So again, fantastic work here. That doesn't mean that it's free of problems. I want to see more Thundercracker and Skywarp. I want to see their brotherly relationship. I want to see what Thundercracker is ultimately going to decide. I know we're getting it. I know we're going to get it. And I know we're going to get Ultra Magnus, probably even more Beachcomber and RC. I know that Daniel Warren Johnson is not going to just throw these characters off to the side and never cover them again. But I just don't like the fact that this issue was marketed as an issue about Thundercracker and Ultra Magnus, and we got it. And it's really not. They're the openers. They're maybe 10% of this issue, maybe even less. And Ultra Magnus, probably the same amount. I'm not going to do the math on the actual percentage here, but it really does feel like the most minimal part of this issue is Thundercracker and Ultra Magnus. And I'm not asking that they put Shredhead on the cover. Of course not. That's a major spoiler. But come on. Something else could have been done here. I think this issue, as I said before, should have either been Optimus and Cliff or Thundercracker and Ultra Magnus. But it wasn't. We have to kind of put these together. And I don't envy Daniel Warren Johnson having to juggle all of these characters. That's why I'm sure he gets nervous when people write him saying, can you add this character, and this character, and this character, and this character? He's probably thinking to himself, I already have plenty of characters. I have too many bots that I have to keep in line and keep up with. I mean, we haven't even seen Jetfire in how many issues? Where did he go? I would recommend that you read the letter section at the end of every comic, especially for issue 17, because you really can tell that Daniel Warren Johnson is almost kind of struggling to keep all these characters in line. And so I'm hoping, and I have faith in him, reading his other comics, he really is, an artist of all time. He's just fantastic with what he can do. I have faith that he'll be able to, if not tie a bow on every single character's story, at least bring them to a heading point near the end of his reign, which is at the end of issue 24. I have faith that he's going to be able to put those characters in a spot where whoever's picking up the comic next can do something great with them. Again, I don't need every single character to have a definitive end when he's done. But I do hope that he doesn't leave these characters like Thundercracker and like Ultra Magnus and Jetfire, I'm going to throw him in there, to the side to do nothing and for us to just really wonder. So I'm hoping that things get a little bit better. Still love this issue. I think it's fantastic, but it's not perfect. I mean, nothing is. And so I'm really hoping for some better issues moving forward. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is absolute peak and I'm crazy and I'm complaining about something that doesn't even matter. If that's the case, then let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.